chapter 18. That's where we were, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
last time we had talked about the five causes of action. Do you remember? Generally, we talked about it. I don't know whether it's very difficult, after 2 weeks. Like, how do you remember? But anyway, the main things, I guess, the main messages got through, the details we forget. But there were five causes of action. So let me just take you through what they were. Um, he had said that um, that basically, if you don't, um, you most people they think I am the doer, but that is not the case. Even at a very superficial level, you can think of five causes which cause an action. So one, you can say the physical body, right? That is causing the action because the physical body से होता है. The second he says is the agent, which is in his he means here he doesn't mean I as a doer, he means the mind. The mind which is saying I want to do this action. It's the mind which has a resolve to do the action, right? So there's the mind. Then there are the different means of action. So that's also a cause of action because like sometimes you use your hands, sometimes you use a tool to do an action. If you have to write, you use a pen. So that is also a cause of action. And then he says the pranas is another cause of action. They also have to be there because pranas are what gives you energy, all these five pranas. So they also need to be around. And finally, he said for an action to occur, there has to be a fifth cause, which he calls daiva. Daiva means luck. Okay, it means it's luck, meaning from our perspective, it is luck. But from Gita's perspective, he's saying it is the wish of the Devas, meaning it's the wish of the god, the gods. In other words, you can try to do 100 things, but you will not be successful till God is with you, till luck is with you. You know, that famous example that a farmer in India can plant as many seeds as he wants, but he has no control over the rain. So if the rain is not there, there is no fall, right? So those kinds of things. Or if God is not with you, you will not be able to do the action, even if you want to. So he's just saying that these five things have to be in place. And and we even that at a very this is not a very spiritual thing. This is just we all know that these things have to be in place. And if these things are not in place, then action will not happen. So um, for a person to say, I am the sole cause of an action is very silly, even at a very superficial level. That's what he's trying to say. Okay. You can even say, okay, I'm in charge of, I will procure the means of action, I will get all the energies. Somehow you can say I have ownership of all of this. But you can never say that you have ownership of the fifth one, which is Daiva. So that's what he's trying to say, that there are five causes of action. Right? He's summarizing things that we already know. Chapter 18 is largely about summarizing things we already know. And then last time we had left it at this, and then we had started going into the next one, but then we thought we'll continue in it this time. And then he said that there are these causes of action, but there's also the what he calls the impellers of action. Like what is there are three impellers of action. And these three impellers of action, he's saying, I'm just reading here, it's knowledge about an object, the object itself, and the knower. So, so he's making a distinction between the cause of action and the impeller of action. Impeller of action is why an action is done. What is driving the action, right? So there's all a lot of detail, but we're just going through it because it's there in the Gita. Okay, but it has a point, and you will see the point soon. So the the impeller is why is it that we want to do an action? Why is it that we want to gain knowledge? Like what's driving us? So one is the Uh, the thought, here knowledge, by knowledge he means the vritti, the thought of an object. So when let's say you're trying to do an action, you have in your mind a perception or an idea of what it is that you want, an object of desire, an object that you want. You already have a vritti about that object. You know that first. This is my aim, this is my goal, this is what I want. And then you act on the basis of that. Whatever that object is, it could be an actual material object or it could be just a feeling, it could be anything. So that is the first thing. So your mind will first develop a vritti of of that object. Then he says the object itself has to be there. So the let's say you want let's say you find that there is gold beneath the earth, so you want to do the action of digging the earth and getting it the gold, treasure hunting. So there is gold beneath the earth. Then there is a vritti of the gold in your mind, correct? You have to know that okay, this is what gold is. I recognize it, I want it. It's because the gold, you can't see the gold. It's just a vritti of the gold which is in your mind. And then the third thing is the knower itself, meaning the person, the mind which knows. So, remember when we said in knowledge, there's a threefold trifecta of knowledge. There's the object of knowledge, then there is the knowledge itself, and there is the knower, the one who knows. So the one who knows also has to be present. So your mind, which is the knower here, has to be present. So the mind, the object of knowledge, and the vritti of that knowledge, the knowledge of the object, right? All three are needed, three are the impellers of action. Without these, the actions don't take place. I'm not explaining it very nicely, I think, but are you getting it? Yeah, Rajiv?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, sort of.
It's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward stuff and nothing very spiritual here. Then he says that these are the impellers of action, and then he calls out the threefold constituents of action. Okay. And the constituents of action are the instrument, the means of action, then the object of the action, and the agent. So, I mean, this is really, there's a lot of repetition here also between this and the fivefold causes of action. But essentially, what he's trying to say is that any action, you'll see it gets broken down into all these things. There is a lot which has to be in place for an action to happen. There's got to be a desire for action, the impellers. There's going to be there have to be the causes of action, and there have to be the constituents of action. The one who's doing the action has to be there, the agent has to be there, all that kind of thing. Okay, and this is just he's just laying the groundwork. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the main thing he's saying is that all of these things, everything here, they are all gunas. None of these is actually real, is not, they're all formed by gunas, by the three gunas. And by that he means that they are all Maya, because none of them is Satya. You can think about action. When we think about action, we can think about action in many ways. He's trying to push the point, drive home the point that you are not the actor. You have nothing to do with the action. You, your actual real self has nothing to do with the action. Your Atma has nothing to do with the action. Because he laid out all of these different things about the action, the impellers of action, the causes of action, all of that. And then he said, all of them are gunas. All of them are Maya. But we don't think so. We always think that I am somehow responsible for the action, that I
Can
did
I
the
ask
action.
something here?
Yeah, yeah.
If somebody is wise enough to know that I am Atma and can actually distinguish themselves, from Maya, then they know that already, right? Then they already know I am not the.
Yeah, so he's saying this again and again. He's teaching, right?
Mm.
If we are wise enough to know, then we don't have to read the Gita.
Hmm.
What is the, I don't know, what was your point?
My point was just that he's saying you are Atma, and so you are not really the agent of the action. You are not doing
Right.
any action. Atma is not doing any action. But he's saying the reason you're not doing any action is that you're Atma.
Right.
But if I already know that I'm Atma, then I also know I am not doing any action, right? It's using the base assumption that I already know I'm Atma. If I know I'm Atma, then I'm just trying to figure out like why is this analysis happening?
Because he's trying to say that you are not, like he said you are the Atma, but it's not very clear to people, right?
I see, I see, I see. It's just
So,
driving home the
for
point.
example, even to you, right? If I tell you
Yeah.
you're the Atma, you can say on the one hand, you know you're the Atma, but on the other hand, you definitely think you're the doer, don't you?
Hmm.
Do you or not?
I understand. I understand.
Right? So if we think we are the doer, and on the other hand we say we are the Atma, then there is some disconnect. So he's
Yeah.
he's taking various different angles and trying to say, what does it mean when you say you're not the Atma? And he's
Yeah, yeah.
deeper into it. He's saying, you're because one of the big misconceptions we have is we say we are the doer, I am the doer. So he's already said that many times, but as I told you, every time you go deeper into the Gita in the later chapters, he goes more and more into the detail. So now he's saying, okay, another way to look at this, that you're not the doer, is by seeing what does an action involve. Action involve all these things. He's listed
Hmm.
3 plus 3, 6 plus 5, 11 things
Yeah, yeah.
that action involves. And then he's saying neither of these things has anything to do with the Atma. They're all Trigunatmik. That means they're all gunas. That means they're all related to Maya. So you can then say, okay, yeah, I see, that's what it means. So maybe you can think a little bit more and say, okay, maybe I'm not the doer. Correct?
Right, right, right. Right. He's emphasizing the discrimination between Maya and Atma.
Yeah, he's trying to teach again and again through different ways, through different angles, the same thing.
Right.
There's only one thing which is being taught all through, which is that you're Atma, but
Yeah.
it's just going about it in different ways.
I get it. I get it.
Okay. So, like, do you guys understand this? Because this is, I think, the last time we are going to touch on this. Do you understand what he means when he says, you are not the doer? Rajiv and Sanjay and others also.
Yeah, that means uh, just a moment. Okay. That means since we are Brahman, we are the Atma. So we are not the doer. It's our body, mind, and the all the world around us which is involved in the action. We as Atma are not involved, but the
Yeah.
Atma, along with all these uh, entities, you can say, or together, but we do the action.
So no, so that's what
Without Atma, we cannot do the action also. This just came to me while talking only just now.
no, again, that's
When
another
I was
misconception.
saying, I got stuck.
So one of the things that Shankaracharya actually says in his bhashyam, in his commentary is exactly
Mhm.
this. He says then we can start thinking maybe Atma is not the doer, but Atma together with all these things is the doer.
But we can't do anything without the Atma.
No, you
If
were not
we,
doing anything in the first place. Atma, see the whole confusion, and that is why I said I asked you this question because because um he's not only saying you're not the doer, he's saying all of these things is Maya. The doer is also Maya. So you remember the 11 things that he's pointed out, some repetition. He said the pranas, which are the causes, the five causes, pranas, daiva, God, Ishwar, physical body, the mind as the agent, and which was the fifth one? The instruments of action, right? The Karanam. Those are the five causes. Each of them is Maya. Daivam is also Maya. When he says Daiva, he says, the gods which create all this good luck for us, is also Maya. Then he says the causes of action, which is the object, the knowledge of the object, the vritti of the object, and the knower of the object, all Maya. Then he says that's the impeller. Sorry, that was the impellers of action. Then he says the three constituents of action, which were the three. Um, he says the three constituents of action was the object of the knower, the agent, the means of knowledge, and then there was a third one. One second. Yeah. The instrument, the object of the action, and the agent are the three constituents of action. So he's trying to look at action from different points. And he's saying even those three are all Maya. He's taking each one by one and saying everything is Maya. You have to understand, if you understand this, that every part of the action is Maya, right? Then you know that none of those is Atma. Once you know that, and you know that you are Atma, then you are not the doer. But as long as this is not clear to you, as long as you think that it is Atma which is either doing these things or causing these things to be done, you will always say, I'm the doer. Yeah. Let's talk it.
I am stuck.
Okay, it doesn't matter. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So define Maya. Don't we say Maya is the power of Brahman?
Yeah.
Am I right or not? I don't know. I might be wrong also.
No, no, no. We say that, but we say many things, right? In order to go up the ladder. So we can say the Maya is the power of Brahman because all these things are not possible to define very well. But but
Yeah.
but Brahman doesn't have any properties.
Yeah.
So how can Maya be a property or a power of Brahman? It's not as if,
Okay.
right? When you think about Brahman, there's only one Brahman. There's no division, there's no power of, no properties of, no this of, no that. There's only Brahman. But when you start looking at it, when you start describing Maya, then the only thing you can say is the way it's in anirvachaniya. It cannot be described. So you try to describe it by saying, okay, it's the power of Brahman, or it's a layer on top of Brahman, or it's Maya, Ishwar is equal to Brahman plus Maya. None of these things are correct. Nothing is right. But this is the only way we can think of describing, pointing it out in different ways. But what you have to understand, internalize is that Maya is it's basically, maybe the way I look at it, to me, the best way to look at Maya is it's just knowledge. Just knowledge that exists. Knowledge is not belonging to somebody, or it's not Brahman's knowledge, it's knowledge. That's another way to think about Maya. It's the vritti which is happening. See, the problem is, what happens is we always think about Brahman as an entity because we say it is Brahman. When we call something Brahman, we automatically think of it as an entity. That it's an object out there, it's something out there which is Brahman. Just like I am an entity and you are an entity. But Brahman is not an entity. That's the problem with this teaching, which we have to say that in the beginning, because otherwise we won't be able to introduce Brahman. But over time, what you have to realize is that actually Brahman I call it Brahman, but there's nothing called Brahman. It's not a thing, right? So I can't say, oh, that's Brahman and this is Maya. I can't say that. So he's saying here,
I,
you're not. Go ahead.
I am somehow, somewhere held up here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Now let's go back a little.
Yeah.
Like when we say that everything is form and shape and of Brahman or Atma, right?
So
Atma is the
everything is not
base
form and shape of Brahman.
of,
Everything is a form and shape,
okay, everything is form and shape.
and Brahman is a substance.
Brahman is the substance.
Right.
So uh, when the form and shape does the action,
Yeah.
then the form and shape cannot do the action without the.
No, no, it's not. It's not. There is no doer of the action at all. It's not as if there's a doer and the doer is the mind. That is also just a thought.
Yeah,
Everything,
okay.
all these, what it means is everything is a thought. Everything is a vritti. When I say this hand did this action,
Mm,
it's literally it's just a vritti. It's a vritti in my mind which says there is a hand, there's an action, and there is someone who did the action. When I say ahamkar, I am the doer, right? What is it? It's just a vritti. Ahamkar is just a vritti. When
mm,
I say I, like, you can say I am breathing, but actually that's a simple example. I am not breathing. The breathing happens.
Yeah.
The breathing is happening, and then I say, oh, the breathing is happening. I have to find a cause. So I say, I am breathing. So that is just a thought in my mind. A thought which connects an action to a doer is just a thought. Or a thought which connects an action to an agent is just a thought. And by the thought, we make the connection and we say, I am the doer. It's the same thing here. What Gita is saying and Vedanta is saying is that these, what we call actions, are just changes which are happening in this world all the time. Though that is Maya. It's just, it's a flow of, it's like in a movie hall. If you go to a theater and you are seeing a movie on a screen, and what is happening there? These changes are happening. Why? Because the projector is running, the reel is going in front of it, so changes are happening. But if let's say the hero kills the villain, you say it's your mind which says the hero killed the villain, but the hero did not kill the villain. It's just the flow of the movie. This assignation of a doer to an action is a vritti. Just like we say that the action is a vritti, the doer hero is a vritti, it's just a shape. The villain is also just a vritti. They're just flow of light on the screen. Similarly, the assignation that the hero killed the villain is also just a vritti. So there is no real doer as such. Things are happening, and we are assigning doership. First, we assigned it to ourselves. Then Gita is telling you, or Bhagwan, Krishna, or Vedanta is telling you, no, you're not the doer. So you have to assign it. So you say, okay, okay, the doership is with mind and the body. I am just the Atma. Because you're still assigning the doership, because you're still wanting to assign the doership somewhere. But when he says all of these are Maya, when he says everything is Maya, like he's taken each one and said it's all Maya, that means that doership is also Maya. He just said that. That agentship is also Maya. There is no actual, there is no actual doer, there is no actual action, there is no actual object. They're all part of Maya. So this is what it means by saying I am Brahman. So when you're living in this world, you have to say that I am doing the work. That's totally fine. But you do all this by knowing that this is actually just mithya. This is just a transactional reality. I'm saying it because I have to live in this world and I'm living in this world like this. But your peace, your happiness, and your fullness comes from the fact that none of these is you, that you are already complete and full already. You're not the doer. It's a very, this is what the end result of the teaching is. This is that's why I was telling Kiki when she was asking that do you really understand it? Because we understand this on paper, but the moment we start digging in, like you were saying, Mukta, the moment you start digging in, you can get confused because this is the pinnacle of the teaching. This is what Gita is going at everything from the karma perspective, right? Gita is all about karam. So Gita's uppermost teaching is this, that there is no action. First it says your karam is important, be a karam yogi, ye kar karke. But ultimately it says actually there is no action and there is no doer and you're complete. That's not an easy teaching to grasp. And even if you grasp it intellectually, like you can say, I have grasped it intellectually, but it's not assimilated. So we have to assimilate it.
Dheeraj is. I'm just thinking about what we're saying here. So is it fair to say that it's just okay not to do anything in this world?
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
why do anything?
right. So if you're really truly following, so Gita tells you two things. Okay, Gita tells you one, what is the end knowledge, the objective, which is what I just told you,
Yes.
that you're not the doer, right? But it also tells you how to get there. If your objective is to truly assimilate this knowledge, then it tells you a way to get there. And the way to get there is not by not doing anything. The first indication of the way to get there is shlok number 247, which said, Karmani eva adhikarastu, right? Ma phaleshu kadachana. So it says, you have the, and then it also says you should not be lazy. Don't be attached to non-action. So if you're serious about trying to get there, then you have to follow the path of the Gita, which is not by not doing anything, but by doing everything without an expectation of result, without trying to think about the results. That's the way to get there. By not doing anything, you will not get there. Because what you have to do to understand that, to assimilate, is to change your own habits, to change yourself. You can't do that by not doing anything. You'll just, at the end of the
Hmm.
day, why do you want to get there? Is because you want peace in your own mind. So you will not, in other words, you are not going to get any peace by not doing anything. You can try. If you don't believe me, just try. And for a month or so, don't do anything and be lazy and see what that gets you. But on the other hand, what Gita is saying is try to do everything as efficiently as you can to the best of your ability and enjoy the doing, and try not to get motivated, try not to get influenced by results. Try to do the best you can. Try that too. The next month, after trying this 1 month, then try this the next month and see whether that is making you happier. And I guarantee you the second one is going to make you happier. So then this question in your mind will go away. Maybe the answer is by not doing anything. That question will go away because you'll have found the answer. That by not doing anything, you're not going to get anywhere. So this is what he's. I'm glad he's summarizing it again in chapter 18 because it's we have to go through this multiple times. So do you have more questions? Just conceptually, more questions? Anybody? Let me take you through another sort of thing that I was, we in another class recently I brought this up. So, this has got to do with when are we doing action? It's just to truly understand this thing. See, what is duality? If you think about duality, because Gita is teaching us non-duality, right? It's saying it's saying your Atma and Atma is non-dual. So, what is duality and what is non-duality? So, can anybody tell me what you think is duality? Maybe Sanjay, can you tell me what you think is duality? It doesn't have to be right, don't worry, just anything, what comes to your mind.
Duality, what I get from duality is you are working at two planes. I am different, the world is different,
Yeah,
God is different, Brahman is
exactly.
different. So
Exactly.
we are working at a different three planes.
Not just
But
the, yeah, right,
non-duality, in non-duality, you work in a one is Brahman and you are Brahman and everything is Brahman.
right. So in
See,
duality, basically, another way to think about it is because exactly what you're saying. In
mhm,
duality, you think everything is different,
different, yeah.
right? Everything is an object which exists in its own right.
Yeah,
So Rajiv is different, you are different, I am different, and
yeah.
this computer is different, the books are. This is
Mhm,
exactly how we see things.
mhm,
But remember, what you're doing is you're saying all of these things exist, but you're also saying that they exist in space and time because space and time also exist, right? Space is also there because if there was no space, you couldn't have different objects. Where would you place these objects, right? The moment you say that I have all these things are different objects, you have to have space in which these objects are, correct?
yeah.
And time, you have to have time because without time, you cannot even conceive of an object. You can't conceive of space without time. This is Einstein, but it's also said by Gita or by Vedanta a long time ago. The time and space, desha kala vastu. It's saying space, time, and objects go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. This idea that there is space and time, and the space and time is a container within which there are multiple objects, is what's called duality, right? And we are one of the objects in them. And the consequence of this duality is you think, this exists. I am here today, I will be gone. But this container will still exist, and all these objects will also exist. I would just not be there, right? Me as an object won't be there. This is duality. So in duality, there's a container, which is space and time. In that container exists different things, and they're interacting with each other. That's duality. Now, what is non-duality? And for that, let me take you through a little exercise. Okay. When, we talked about it before also. But again, this is in the spirit of chapter 18, we'll revise. We talked about it many, many months ago when we talked about the now, right?
Mhm.
So tell me, when is experience happening? Is it correct to say that the experience is happening now? Any experience, whatever you're experiencing now. Is it right? Even let's say you're thinking about the past. Let's say you're thinking about the past. That thinking about the past is also happening now. Is that correct,
Yes.
Mukta and Rajiv?
Yeah, yeah.
So past exists in your mind. It's not actually there. Past exists in your mind as a thought, right? And that thought is happening right now. So what you call past is a thought in the mind, correct? You really have no way of knowing whether the past actually existed. Literally, there is no way of knowing that. Sanjay, when you missed out, I was asking the question, like
Um,
everything is happening
now,
now,
yeah.
right? And what we
Mhm.
call past
Mhm.
is a thought which is happening right now. Because past doesn't exist right now. Past to khatam ho gaya.
ये खत्म हो गया.
But if you think about the past, when you say in the past this happened,
Mhm.
that thinking is happening now. So past is really literally past is just a thought in the mind which is happening now. Past is just a thought.
Mhm.
And I was saying a corollary to that is we really do not know whether the past actually happened or not happened, did not happen. Because all we have is a thought. We have no connection with the past at all. Our only connection is with the present, with now. If I have somehow changed your thought in your mind, you'll think the different thing happened. In fact, it happens all the time. Thought comes from memory, right? So we have changes in our memory. People can get confused. And you'll say, no, no, I did that. Whereas actually we never did that. And you can be completely sure I did that. Why? Because the thought in your mind got all corrupted. Correct? So the past
Hmm.
is nothing but a thought. And really, if you really look at it, we have absolutely no way of knowing whether something happened or not. The reason that we don't know that previous janamas happened, for example, is because we have no thoughts related to the previous janam. There is no vritti. So we have no idea of knowing whether previous janam happened or not happened. Correct? So that's the yeah, I don't know these.
I
It's
think we turn that thing off, like the
always
AI.
recognize hand gestures. Okay. All right. Hopefully it doesn't recognize now. Okay. So because of right, so we really do not know about the past. Same thing about the future. The future is also a thought in our mind. It's not real. Correct? At
Right.
any given moment, all we know is now.
Now.
Correct? At now. Then what we try to do is we try to define this now on a timeline. We say कि पहले past हुआ, then past के बाद there's now, and then now के बाद there's future. That's how we think about things. It works, it works for day-to-day living. But it doesn't work if you think about it carefully. Because then I'm going to ask you, if you think that first it was past, then there is now, and then after that there will be future, then I'm going to ask you, how big is the now?
Mm.
Is it 1 second? Because if the now is 1 second, then by the time the now ends, the beginning of the now has already gone into the past. So it's no longer the now, right? Because 1 second, the first 0.1 of the second is something happened, and then in 0.2 of the second, 0.1 is already in the past, and the rest of the 0.8s are already in the future. So now can't be a duration in time, howsoever small you make it. It can't even be like a moment, because even a moment can be cut into smaller ones. And how can you even say that it is so small? Because all your experience is happening in the now, all your experience. So you can't say it is like no time at all. Because then where would the experience happen, right? So what is now? So to think about now as a part of a continuum of past to future and now in the middle is incorrect. It doesn't stand to reason. It doesn't work. Okay.
Hmm.
Sanjay, Rajiv,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
keep nodding so I know.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Okay.
I mean, these are pretty interesting concepts, But
They're real. They're not
yeah,
concepts.
yeah, the real and
You have to
They
think
are
about
real,
it as
but
real.
hard to
What is
understand and digest.
so now what you have to understand, you have to spend time on it and really understand it and digest it. Because this is what essence of non-duality is. Because what non-duality is saying is that this now, where everything is happening, which is your only moment of experience, your only experience, has nothing to do with time. It is what it calls nityam or eternal. Eternal means doesn't mean it goes on forever. It means that it is outside time. There is no concept of time in the now. On the other hand, time is a thought in the now. Space is a thought in the now. Because you can't even say where now is located. You can't even say now is located here in space. It's the same logic you can use. But space comes from the now. So duality says that the container is space and time in which everything is happening. Non-duality says the container is now. And space and time are in the container as thoughts in the container. That's what non-duality says. And this now is nothing but Brahman. You can call it Brahman. So this is another way to think about Brahman, much better, because otherwise you'll think about Brahman as a thing. You can't think about the now as a thing. So this now, this container in which all the thoughts are happening, including the past and the present and everything else, is what we call Brahman. And that is what you are. That's you. That's what Gita is saying. We think in this connection, one of the thoughts in this container is, say, Mukta, in this body and form, mind. That's a thought in the container. But Mukta says, oh, I am that body and mind. So Vedanta is saying, no, you're not that body and mind. You're this container, which is this now. This body and mind, which you think is going to go away tomorrow and vanish and die and whatever, is just a thought. Okay? So non-duality means there is no time, there is no space, there's only now, here and now. Everything else that we call objects and everything else is just a thought or a vritti in this now. And that now is what you are. Because now is the only thing that really exists. So this also, first we have to intellectually understand, which is not easy. Then we have to assimilate. It's one thing to intellectually understand, and it's another to assimilate.
Mhm.
Really, and to really get it. Okay? An example for that is our dream. Because in dream happens, doesn't go from waking state to dream. You think about a dream first let's say, dream comes and goes when you are in deep sleep. The dream happens, goes back into dream sleep, then deep sleeps again, dream comes. This is multiple times it happens before you wake up. So in deep sleep, there is no time and space. There is nothing. Right? You can think about it this way because you're not thinking, you're not. But in that state of no time and space, suddenly knowledge erupts as a dream. Knowledge manifests as a dream. And then the dream is happening, then you're in the dream. You're an object in the dream. And the object is, all the logic is working there, causes are there, time and space is there, relationships between objects are there, feelings are there, all that is there. And then the dream folds back into deep sleep. So the container is deep sleep. And the whole dream, including its space, time, everything, is a thought in the container, or a series of thoughts in the container. That's the analogy to use for us in real life.
Does that thinking not extend even to the waking state?
What do you mean? Tell me.
I mean, you were talking about going from deep sleep
Yeah, I was
into
giving an
dreaming,
example
right?
because deep sleep
But what
is,
I'm saying is, why not? So the what's left is the waking state, right? So that's
in the waking state
doesn't
also
the
the same
thought
thing happen.
doesn't the thought extend all the way to the waking state too? That everything is just false.
Yes,
Hmm.
yeah, it
The
does.
world is false,
So
right?
I was giving the example just to show you how the waking state is just a thought in the
Thought,
now.
yeah,
What we call the waking state is a thought in the now. Just like a dream is a thought in the deep sleep,
yeah,
in a way, because deep sleep is non-dual, right? You can say deep sleep, there's no space and time.
yeah.
When you go to sleep in deep sleep, you have no idea how long you slept, whether you're going to wake up. Nothing. It's all you're in deep sleep. You could have slept 15 hours and got up and said, "Oh, मैं अभी सोया था." Or you could have slept like a minute and you'd have thought, "Oh, I have slept so long," because there's no concept of time in deep sleep. So therefore, deep sleep is our closest experience to non-duality. So, you can. That's why I was giving the example. But yeah, but that's exactly, you're right. So that is how you can think about non-duality, right? So now you go back to the Gita and say, if you are the now, the container, and all this action is happening, activity and action is happening. There's a karta, there's a doer, there's a karam, there's this and that. Now you can see all this is just a thought. Even the fact, even one object in your dream, or even one object in your now, in the container, the now, one object is thinking, I am the doer. That's also just a thought. If in your dream, let's say in your dream, you you did a big, great work and you won a prize. In the dream, you will be thinking, oh, I am the doer. But when you wake up, you realize everything was just a thought. There was a prize, that was a thought. You won the prize was a thought. You were a doer was also another thought. There was really no doer, right? Because there was really no prize. There was really nothing. So what is the concept of a doer? So it's the same thing in the waking state. Where is the doer? So this is his way of kind of, it's difficult to understand this because we are in the waking state, right? So he's trying to, you can see for yourself how often we've gone through the same thing again and again, but every time you feel something new, you feel something different, you feel, okay, I learned something else. There was something which was not clear. However, many times, this is to answer Kiki's question, why is he saying it again? He's not only, Gita will be over and we will still have questions left because we'll have to keep going back to it again and again.
Uh,
Yeah.
I am still struggling with
Yeah, yeah.
what we've been discussing. When you say you are the now,
Right.
I didn't get it.
It means
I mean, I'm not understanding.
it means you or me or anybody, when we
Yeah,
think, right, what you, because the reason you're not getting it is because when I say you are the now, you're thinking that I'm addressing it to Mukta as the mind and the body, right?
okay.
Correct. I'm not saying that you change your concept. We talked about this before. I'm not saying that you change this your concept that this Mukta and the mind and the body is not Brahman. That is not what I'm saying. It's not as if first you thought Mukta is this mind and body, and now you're saying, no, no, Mukta is the Brahman. No, that's not what I'm saying. When you think like that, you will be confused. What I'm saying is, you are not Mukta at all. You are Brahman. You have to, you have to let go of this feeling of me which you have. You have a feeling of me, I, right? That feeling of me is a feeling. It is what is making you different from everybody else. If that feeling of me was not there, you wouldn't see yourself as different. What is causing the separation between you and Kiki? It's because you have this feeling, this is me. And this Kiki is not me. And you can't let go of that feeling. So when I say you are Brahman, then you're thinking, oh, me, this me is Brahman. No, that's not right. That's not the intent of Tattvamasi. What it's saying is you let go of this feeling of me. Let go of the fact that I am Mukta, a separate person and an individual. Because that is just a feeling. That's another feeling in your mind. It's another vritti. So that's what it actually means. When you say you are Brahman, it means let go of the knowledge or the feeling that you are something separate. That's what it means. Because you can't say I am Brahman because there's nothing called Brahman. You can say I'm this body because there's a body, you can see it. But when I say you are Brahman, how can you even think about being Brahman? Because Brahman is not an entity that you are not today, but you are going to be tomorrow. No, it just means drop this feeling. Do you get it now?
Trying to.
You repeat. You tell me what I told you. Just explain to me. If you get caught, yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think you are right now? Whatever you think you are, there's a feeling that I'm this, right? That I'm Mukta. Maybe it's the mind and the body, maybe it's Brahman, whatever. You can say I'm Brahman, but still, there's this feeling that this is me.
Yeah, most of the time we transact and we work around, and the whole day we are just thinking of ourselves as me, Mukta, body, mind.
Correct. Right.
We so that actually that itself clouds everything.
That's exactly
You
right.
you that's what you're saying.
Yes. I'm
So
saying
how?
drop that. When I say you are Brahman, it doesn't mean that this me, which you walk around every day, now has found a new identity, which is called Brahman. So what you're saying is this me exists. And this me,
Yeah,
which I used to think was this body, now I realize, oh no, this me is Brahman. So you've given a new identity to the me. That's just a different identity to the me. There's still the me. You still define something called Brahman, which is now suddenly you said, okay, that's me. Just like you said, I'm a doer. You assigned doership to yourself. Now you assign Brahmanship to yourself. Right? You assign Brahman to yourself. That will not take you anywhere. That's why you're confused. What it's actually saying is that this me, who you're trying to assign different things, who you think is this, who is so important to you, who is so vital to you, who's the last frontier, so to say, you can say, I can be everything, I can give up everything, but how can I give up me? It's saying you give that up because that me is false. That's all it's saying. That me is just a thought. That's just another way of
And
saying you're
how
Brahman.
can you drop the me and transact in this world?
Yeah, that's right. So you're not going to drop the me. You can't even drop the me as such. This is just like who's going to drop what? Who's
Ah,
dropping what, right? Who's dropping the me? So it's
yeah.
not, it's just a question of understanding. In your mind, you understand that I am transacting in the world, I'm doing everything at one level. But when I'm sitting with myself, I know that this is also just a thought. This me, this ego, this thing is also just a thought. It's
You
not
sent
this.
that article to this group also, right? That's the question Sanjay is asking. Your article on the ego.
Yeah. So this me is also just a thought, and that is the essence of saying Tattvamasi, or you're Brahman, or I am Brahman. Right? It should. It's very. This is a very. It's very, in my opinion, not very well worded. I am Brahman. You are Tattvamasi. They have to be very carefully explained. Otherwise, we will do exactly what we are doing right now, which is we think I exist and I am Brahman. I am Brahman because Brahman is not something that you can put your finger on. It's not something you can say this is Brahman. Everything is Brahman and nothing is Brahman. So all you can say is that this identification I have, which whatever I have, maybe first in the beginning I was thinking I'm a body, then I'm thinking I'm Atma, then I'm thinking I'm this. All these identifications are false. If I think I'm Atma, that is also wrong. If I think I'm Brahman, that is also wrong. Because I don't exist. So where is the question of me being Brahman? I don't exist. This I is just a thought. When you were a little child, you didn't have this I thought. You were just looking around. You're just part of this world. At that time, you never had this I thought. You didn't know that there's a separate entity which is different from the world. You were just there. Now, now you've learned that there is separate entity, and you have to live in this world with a separate entity. So it's not saying that you become like a baby and say, "Oh, I don't exist." You still have to work with the I, but deep inside, you know that this I is false. Which means, if tomorrow this I disappears, which it will disappear because you're all going to die. You are not gone because just a thought has gone, just the mithya has gone. That's what it means. But if you think that I am this thought, this is me, then you will be in dread all the time because you'll say, oh, I will be gone. I will no longer exist. Right? You understand, Sanjay? We can
Yes,
talk
yes.
about it as much as you want. Honestly, I mean, there's I don't want to finish the Gita and chapter 18 because that's not the point. There's a lot of things being said, but this is actually the point. This understanding is the point of the Gita. So, whatever questions you have, next 3, 4 sessions that we have on chapter 18, you please bring them up. Don't worry about whether they're silly questions or not. Let's just go through them so that this can be conceptually clear. All the questions, all the conceptual doubts can go. Okay, and then after that, you can, you'll be going through your sadhanas, whatever you have to do to assimilate it. This is exactly what Bhagavan Krishna is trying to say through all these different verses. Okay.
Okay.
Can I, the analysis that you did on the now or the here, I try to sometimes correlate that to, I used to call that consciousness, but it's just, you can, it's like nothing, or you can just call it something. Like you can, I think the part where you said, okay, how can anything exist? Because everything has a duration. So it's not like time and space can exist in the now. Sorry, it's not that, it's that time and space actually are concepts in the now, right?
Yeah.
And so what we are calling now in that framework, it's if you really try to meditate, it's that, what does that now feel like? It just, whatever it feels like will be cognized in the mind that is itself a concept in the now.
Right. Yeah.
So you can't really, as a jiva, just experience it as a jiva. You can't
Experience
experience
what?
the now consciousness. You just know that you are existing as a jiva.
Yeah.
That you know that you exist.
According to this theory, this framework that we have put together, yes, you can say, I know that I exist as a jiva.
And so then that existence is the same as now, or consciousness, or however we want to, because to label it from the standpoint,
I think what it's saying is all this thinking is not the point. All this machination, all these is not the issue. The point is just to know that in that all of this is happening in the moment. Everything is happening in the moment. And um and that and this moment is complete. This moment is full. In this moment, there is no problem. In this moment, there's no issue. All the things that we think are problems and issues and everything else are just thoughts in the moment. The problem either resides in the past because something happened in the past which we are recalling, or it resides in the future because it's a thought of the future. But if you're in the present moment, at this point in time, there is no problem. There never is. Because this point in time is not a thought. This point in time is the container. That's what it's trying to say. That's all. Don't think too much.
but the problem exists for the object or the human which is in the container. So let's say somebody is in pain, right? And the person who's in pain, let's say, comes to Vedanta and says, you know, is this like you, if you tell, like, so how would that framework work?
It's not supposed to work for a person in pain. It's not the idea is not to remove your pain. The idea is to give you the knowledge that you are not a person. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay? So this is not centered around a person in pain. The person in pain has to figure out how to
No,
resolve
no,
that pain.
yeah. I'm just,
Like,
no, when you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just trying to think of it from that angle
yeah.
when we say.
But that's what I'm saying. Don't think of this. Don't think of Vedanta as a resolution to anybody's pain. Okay? The resolution of the pain may be a byproduct, but don't use Vedanta as a crutch.
But people come to Vedanta to
Okay, so if people come because they come in ignorance, right? People come to
yeah.
Vedanta for a lot of different things, right? But you are a more learned person now. You know now what Vedanta is. You know what Vedanta is trying to tell you. And you know that it won't work on everything. If a person refuses to think, when you're in pain, you refuse to understand, you refuse to think that that this pain is a vritti. When you
Yeah.
refuse to think, then how will Vedanta work?
Yeah.
Right? So then something else is needed before Vedanta works.
Yeah.
Correct? That's what it means. There is a part of Vedanta which is called Karam Yoga. That is very much designed for people who want to
Addressing that.
address, yeah.
Yeah.
What we're talking about right now is not Karam Yoga.
I understand.
If you understand, you wouldn't be asking the same question every time.
Well, I mean, if the assimilated, it's that in the moment you can understand, but
Uh,
to your point, assimilation takes a while.
Okay.
So this is a process of
I'm saying, yeah.
assimilation.
So let's like even I admit to myself that I also don't understand because I still feel pain. I still kind of go around and feel anxious. All of that happens. So kind of I have to tell myself that I don't want to use my Vedanta knowledge as a escape, right? Let's admit um, like where we are and what we need to do. That's all I was trying to say. And because you're my sister, I can kind of be
Yeah,
blunt
it's
with you.
okay.
I can be more blunt with you.
Yeah.
I can be blunt with everybody, actually. That is not true, but
Yes, you can be.
yes, I know. Yeah.
Actually, today it has been a totally a different way of thinking, a new way of, I mean, so far we've been listening and understanding it in a different way. This is another philosophical way of
Yeah.
explaining the same thing, a
Correct.
slightly different.
Yeah.
So, it's been like you have to again get used to thinking like this because my mind is still saying now is when you say now, it's again time. I am stuck there.
Yeah.
Now means
Now
now
is
the
not
time
time.
now.
And over time, see, I also wanted to tell you guys that one thing, Carol told me this. She said, start teaching. She didn't, I told her, how can I teach? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. She said, stop it, just start teaching. She says, listen to me, start teaching. She said, start teaching Gita. And now I really understand the big advantage of teaching because it gives me a structured way to go back to the material, keep looking at it, simplify it in my mind because I have to explain it to you. So, my suggestion to you also would be when this is over, whoever you feel comfortable with, start teaching. Because, because, because
Can't even think of
it's
it right
really,
now.
if you don't do it, you won't have clarity. Because listening is one thing. You can keep listening. Listening is a lazy man's way of learning, honestly.
Yeah.
You can just kind of, okay, मैंने ये भी YouTube सुन लिया. कुछ समझ आ गया नहीं आया. It was fun to listen to. But
Passive learning होती है ना, listening is passive learning. Yeah.
passive learn. There's no activity. You're not really involved your brain. There's no thinking, no reasoning.
But to
You're not
teach
struggling with
somebody,
anything.
you really have to go into the depth and
Yeah,
assimilate and everything, and you have to put a
exactly.
lot of hard work. Lot of hours and lot of hard work.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then how do
And
you answer the questions that are asked when you are not clear yourself?
Yes.
no, no, but you will be, that's what
We
I'm
are
saying.
still.
You will clarify, you will anticipate the questions, and you will become clear. When you're preparing for it, you will anticipate the questions. This is it's a chicken and egg. Because if you otherwise, otherwise you take sannyas and go join a ashram and study there 8 hours a day. Because that we are not going to do. So if you really want clarity, if you really want to sort of understand it, you have to engage your mind. And you have to engage your mind when you know when there is no safety net. When you're teaching, when you're asking me, there's no safety net. For you, there's a safety. You can ask me, I will answer, right? But I don't have a safety net here. I can't go tell Carol, please answer this question for me. I have to answer in the now. So that gives me the impetus to to understand things much better, to clarify things. And in the process, I clarify them in my mind. And then when I talk to you about it, it clarifies even more in my mind. Just by the talking and by your reactions, what you are understanding, what is working, what is not, it clarifies more. Anyway, that's just
Another thing is,
yeah.
yeah, no, just another thing is that we got so used to listening and understanding, like whether it's you or Satyananda or anybody else on the YouTube. But when you try to read the same thing in a
Book.
text form, like what you have written, that is quite clear.
Hmm.
उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
छोटा सा
But
है वो.
generally,
हाँ,
नहीं, but वो थोड़ा maybe we are used to your style, and
right.
then we understand it's very simplified, written in a very simplified and explanatory way. But generally, if you read this in the books or anywhere, it's very difficult to I don't understand anything.
And that is
I
their
mean,
problem. The
I'm
writers.
not saying anything.
No, no, but I know what you mean.
Sorry.
See, these people, all these gurus, they see themselves as scholars because
Hmm.
they read so many texts. So,
Hmm.
they think they are like PhD students or
Hmm.
teachers. So they write in that technical language. And
Yeah.
that is not a good sign. Like, I mean, if I read Swami Dayanand, he writes very simply.
Uh,
You just have to have the
acha.
interest and the patience to go through it. But it's pretty simple.
Okay.
He talks about Sanskrit too, but then he explains every
Okay.
word, right? So there it's a question of interest and
Hmm.
patience. But that again, I'm saying that is not even the point. It's not that you need to read more. It's that you have to think more. You have to think. You have to formulate the answer question in your mind, and then you have to answer it yourself. What you're doing, and this is what I keep telling Kiki all the time, because this is her habit, okay, of picking on her. A thought comes in her mind, a question comes in her mind, pop, right away she pops it. Okay, tell me. I just happen to be her. That's not, that is not, that doesn't exercise your brain in any way because the thought is hers, the question is hers, the answer is mine. It has nothing to do with her. She'll forget it again. Only when the thought is hers and the answer is also hers will it be assimilated. You cannot assimilate somebody else's answer. So you have to find an answer to your questions. You know enough. All all the basic tools you have all the knowledge. You have to now apply it at least to answer your own questions. Try, you know.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, probably you're right.
right?
Mm.
You won't try till you are put on the spot. Either if I put you on the spot by asking you questions, in which case then you will say I'll stop attending. Right? or or you're put on the spot because you are asked to teach. Then you're put on the spot. You will be forced to answer the question. And you can. There's really no big deal. Maybe different people are different, so there may be some people are better explainers, some are better teachers than the others. That's all a question of, people's personal gifts. But you don't have to be the best teacher. You just, you know, just do the best you can. Anyway, whenever you're ready. But But this, what you realize, what I think you realize yourself is that just listening and just, going through the same motions again and again and again and again has a point of diminishing returns. In the beginning, it's very useful, very helpful because you learn a lot because you know nothing. But then it goes like this. It's asymptotic. After a point, this thing doesn't give you any more returns. It's just on the surface. There is nothing, there's no depth to it till you apply your mind. That's why they say,
नहीं,
Shrav,
but returns
Nam
returns
Vidya.
धीरज,
Huh?
इसके अंदर returns तब मिलेंगी if you really go deeply and try to understand
Right,
and assimilate the things, then only वो returns आएंगी.
right. You remember
अगर वो ऊपर
Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana.
निधि दे सकती, yeah,
Shravanam alone, it's good, but it doesn't do anything. I mean, beyond a point, it doesn't help. Mananam is actually trying to resolve doubts. You can resolve them with the help of a teacher, of course, but not with the help of a teacher, right? Not by the teacher only.
yeah.
But Dheeraj, isn't this concept that you brought in kind of new? I mean, I don't think you've touched on this here and now versus right the container part, right?
We
So
did a
I want to
long
make
time
sure you don't
ago.
beat your
No,
sister
no, we
up.
did
I
talk
think
about it. We did,
you
but
did.
maybe I didn't talk about it as a container. That because I'm writing an article on this. So then that was another reason why I brought it up also because I thought, let me see how just float the idea and see how it goes. But
Yeah,
We spoke
yeah.
about trying to find the smallest, can you break time down?
no, we talked about now.
Yeah.
We had a whole lecture, whole full class on here and now.
Yeah.
And you guys
Yeah,
loved
yeah,
it.
Well,
yeah.
but correlation of, I mean, the correlation of that to now is now Brahman, right?
No,
I, I,
Mukta
I,
asked the question. Mukta said, so what is now and what is where is Brahman in all this? And I said,
yeah,
now is Brahman.
yeah,
And you guys are all astounded. You said, no, no, no. What do you mean now is Brahman? And so what I'm
yeah.
saying is we can hear a lot of things, but we can't, if it's a lot of new information, we can only grasp a little portion of it. So we have to hear it again and again in order to kind of get the whole thing. Like I also have heard this here and now multiple times from multiple people. And only now am I able to kind of put it all together and say, this is what it means.
Yeah, well, so my viewpoint, and it's just a generic viewpoint. I think the complexity in Vedanta continues to come from the fact that you cannot experience Brahman, and it's very very hard thing because we always live through our experiences, right? And
Okay, let
to
me
be able
correct
to
you there,
just
okay?
yeah,
Because this is a key problem that Swami Dayanand faced, and he has written extensively about it. The complexity of Vedanta comes not from the fact that you can't experience Brahman. The complexity of Vedanta comes because we believe that the only way to know is through experience. We are waiting for experience. We are unconsciously, constantly waiting for experience. You drop that, and Vedanta is simple. This idea that I need to experience is rooted in duality. Because what does experience mean? It means there is something else which I need knowledge of, which is not already existing. There's something else I need to transact with, which is not existing. This is a very dualistic way of thinking. That I don't have this knowledge or I don't have this experience. I need a new experience. When that experience happens, knowledge happens. Then I'll have another experience, more knowledge, more experience, more knowledge, right? We grow through experiences. That is duality. But Vedanta is non-dual. In the non-dual world, you can't say, I will grow through experience because there is nothing
there
which you
is
cannot, correct? So, the one big learning we need to have is to understand that this is not about experience. It's actually like you'll be surprised how much we are wanting experience. Even after thinking that I don't want experience, you'll realize you want experience. The ultimate experience is the experience of me as an individual, this me. We don't even realize, like Mukta was saying, when she was saying, I'm struggling with Tattvamasi, she didn't even realize that that was also an experience she was having, this experience of me, right? Like this experience is a very big thing in duality. But if we give it up, if we, let's say, we stop, we don't think about, just take Vedanta for what it is, not as a, not as an answer to my ills, not as a solution to my depression, not as an experience of joy, not as a, experience of fullness. If we drop all these things, then we begin to understand Vedanta. And it just so happens that the byproduct of that is that you feel better anyway. That's just a byproduct. That happens too.
But actually, there is experience, every experience, all that experience is happening right now, right, Raji? Like right now, there is experience. It's just what is that experience?
No, but he's talking about the experience of Brahman.
But that's right now.
Wha-
That is now is also happening at any experience has now, right? All experience, like there's no other experience except the experience that's there at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think we talked about earlier, right? Is even past experiences, translated
Right.
into the
Right.
now, right? Is just a vritti, right? So everything that's happening is now, and that's
Right.
what is Brahman.
Okay. So we call it a day. It's pretty late now, yeah. 11 o'clock for you guys.
Yeah.
So we can talk next week. I mean, 2 weeks from there now. We'll go through some. I don't know how to go about this because we'll go through chapter 18 and then you just stop me wherever you need to, and we'll talk about. I mean, more important to me is to make sure that by the end of this Gita class sessions, you guys don't have any conceptual doubts. So you keep now this work you have to do, formulate your questions if you have any.
And formulate answers.
Yeah, formulate answers. That'll be very good. All right. Okay.
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 All right.
Yes.
Bye.
See you in
Thanks.
2
Bye.
weeks.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.